So the Legion of the Damned is probably the coolest thing in all of 40k. They're a chapter of seemingly demonic space marines that are literally on fire all the time. Despite their appearance, they're actually loyal to the Emperor. They appear seemingly at random whenever humanity needs them the most. They showed up on Cadia during Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade, and even came to the defense of the Blood Angels during the Tyranid invasion of Baal. But despite numerous documented sightings, we still don't actually know who these guys are, or what they are for that matter. But there are a lot of theories. The earliest known theory is that they're actually the lost chapter of Space Marines known as the Firehawks. You see, these guys were on their way to fight off a Drukhari invasion, and took a shortcut through the warp. Now this journey should have only taken around 12 hours. Unfortunately, the Firehawks never made it, and no one knows what happened to them. Eventually, the chapter was officially declared lost. The bell of lost souls was rung 1,000 times in their honor. It was originally speculated that the Firehawks had become horrifically mutated by the warp, gaining all manner of demonic abilities, such as being able to materialize out of thin air, appear in multiple locations at the same time, not to mention their guns spew flaming rounds of ammunition that seem to never run out. Oh yeah, and they literally explode into a giant fireball if they die. There are a few conflictions with this theory though. Namely, the first documented sighting of the Legion of the Damned occurred over 900 years before the founding of the Firehawks. It's not to say this isn't possible though, as time gets all weird when it comes to the war. There is, however, a few more theories that seem to hold a lot more weight. The first is that if the Emperor truly has become a god, and a god that is on par with the Chaos gods, then it would only make sense that he's able to create his own demons. And when we look to the demons made from the Chaos gods, they're all supposed to resemble at least slightly the god that created them. Since the Emperor considered the Space Marines amongst his finest creations, it's pretty easy to assume that if he was to create a legion of demons, that they would resemble the Space Marines. There are some reports of the Legion of the Damned being kinda hard to look at. Their armor is so black that no amount of light will illuminate their features. They seem to kinda shimmer in and out of existence, being there and not there at the same time. This is almost identical to how demons are described in Horus Rising, and this is one of the first documented sightings of demons. It's described that your brain can't really make out what you're looking at, because demons aren't supposed to exist. So the forms that we're used to seeing in artwork, it's just your brain trying to make sense of the unexplainable. At one point in the book, this even holds true when looking at a photograph of a demon. And this isn't to mention other characters like Saint Celestine, who for all intents and purposes are a demon prince of the Emperor. A mortal who has been elevated by the powers of the warp are forced to constantly reincarnate whenever they die. And if that wasn't enough to convince you, the most recent book in the timeline, Godblight, basically spells out for us that yes, in fact, the Emperor has become a god. And the final theory is the most interesting, which states that the members of the Legion of the Damned are actually ghosts, and are the vengeful spirits of those slain at the drop site massacre. What's particularly interesting about this is that supposedly the Legion of the Damned is led by a giant headless space marine. The Primarch of the Iron Hands, Ferrus Manus, was actually beheaded at the drop site massacre by Fulgrim. I personally think both of these theories are correct, because we've seen humans become demons before, like with the Plague Bearers. So it's my thought that the Emperor gathered the souls of those killed on Istanbul, and reincarnated them as his personal demons.